The news of Tilikum's death in 2016 shocked the world. A new documentary is claiming that the reason the orca died was because of an old trainer. Let's look into it. Hi, I'm your host. This is Ella, Canada, and this is breaking news. We are gonna be taking a look at the life of Jessica Watson before the incident. On February 2016, Tilikum passed away at the age of 33 years old. For years, people have been blaming SeaWorld for his death. But what if the cause of his death had nothing to do with SeaWorld? Instead, what if it had everything to do with one of the trainers themselves? It's me, your host. This is LA Canada, and this is breaking news. And we're going to take a look at the life of Jessica Watson before the incident. In the documentary, they show how all the other trainers were so jealous of her because she got to spend so much time with Tilikum. They also showed footage from her Facebook page where she would post things like "You just don't understand how much he loves me" with pictures of her and Tilikum. Jessica Watson was a young, popular, and bubbly trainer who gained the affection of many orcas at the park. She was extremely close with several animals, most notably Kalina and Draco. She was known for being the best animal ambassador, and she did lots of extra work with the whales beyond what was asked of her. Jessica was also responsible for training some of the whales to perform tricks that the park is now famous for. The two shows that she helped develop were the Pets Ahoy and the Believe shows. She also worked closely with the rescue and rehabilitation of whales. And in fact, Jessica was the one who hand-raised and trained the whale that they featured in the documentary. Her passion for the animals really shined through. In 2008, Jessica had a very serious accident that almost took her life. She was performing a stunt with Tilikum when she was supposed to jump off of his nose. But as she jumped, Tilikum went down into the water. This caused her to hit her head very hard on the concrete floor, and she ended up in a coma for 2 weeks. Everyone thought that she was gonna die, but miraculously she did wake up from the coma. However, her injuries left her with permanent brain damage, which affected her memory and her ability to function day to day. Her recovery was slow, but she eventually returned to training the animals. However, after her accident, she developed a very close bond with Tilikum. He became her favorite animal to work with. Now, I know that there has been a lot of speculation on whether she was too close with the orca. But this actually might be the reason why she was his favorite. When she came back to work, she wasn't the same. She couldn't remember things as well, and she needed help with even the smallest of tasks. Tilikum seemed to sense this, and he was extremely gentle and patient with her. He was the only animal that she could work with without having to take a break due to her injuries. Now, this is where the documentary makes its first accusation. They claim that she used her injuries to get special treatment. With Tilikum, she was allowed to spend more time with him than any of the other trainers, and she was even allowed to stay late with him while the other trainers would go home. Jessica started working with Tilikum when she was 19 years old. When she first started training him, he was very aggressive towards her. And she was often bitten and scratched during their sessions. But Jessica was determined to form a bond with the whale, and eventually they became close. Despite his size and strength, Jessica was not afraid of Tilikum. She knew that he trusted her and would often say that he was the most gentle giant that she had ever met. While the documentary does paint her out to be a bad person, there are lots of other sources that claim that she was the exact opposite. According to her coworkers, Jessica loved Tilikum and treated him like a member of her own family. They also claimed that she would often sneak him extra fish and that she would talk to him for hours on end. One of her friends said that Jessica would often say that Tilikum was her soulmate and that she felt a connection with him that she had never felt before. The relationship between Jessica and Tilikum was not always smooth sailing. They had their ups and downs, but overall their bond was strong. When Tilikum passed away in 2016, Jessica was devastated. She posted on Facebook saying, "I am heartbroken. I will miss my big boy. My heart goes out to everyone who loved him." But enough about her love for the animal. What about her love life? As many of you know, Jessica was married to another trainer named John. Their wedding was a small ceremony held at the park. Many of their co-workers attended, including some of the other trainers. However, their marriage was not meant to last. After a few years, the couple filed for divorce. The reason for the divorce is unknown, but it is rumored that Jessica was cheating on her husband with one of the other trainers. When Jessica was growing up, she wanted to be a marine biologist. She was fascinated with animals and spent most of her time outdoors exploring nature. She also volunteered at a local animal shelter. When she was in high school, she began dating a guy named Joe. The couple was inseparable and eventually got engaged. However, Joe's father did not approve of Jessica. He thought that she was not good enough for his son. So he paid for his son to go to college out of state, hoping that this would break them up. But Jessica and Joe remained together and eventually got married. They had 2 children, a boy and a girl. However, the marriage did not last, and they divorced when the kids were still young. Jessica then moved to Florida, where she began working at SeaWorld. During her time at SeaWorld, Jessica became close friends with a guy named Alex. They shared a passion for animals and often talked for hours on end about their dream of opening an animal sanctuary. Alex was a marine biologist and worked at the park's research center. He was studying dolphins and their intelligence. Jessica and Alex's friendship soon turned into something more. They began dating and eventually got married. They had 2 children, a boy and a girl. However, the marriage did not last, and they divorced when the kids were still young. Jessica then moved to Orlando, where she began working at SeaWorld. Here she met a guy named John. They fell in love and eventually got married. The ceremony was held at the park, and many of her co-workers attended. The couple had 2 children, a boy and a girl. But again, the marriage didn't last, and they eventually got divorced. There are lots of allegations that she was having an affair with Tilikum's trainer, but there is no evidence to support this. However, these claims have done a lot of damage to her reputation. So what is Jessica doing now? Well, she still works at SeaWorld, and she is still a trainer. She travels around the country teaching people about marine biology and conservation. She also works with injured and sick animals. And she hopes to one day open an animal sanctuary. As we wrap up this episode, I want to say thank you for watching. If you have any information about this case, please come forward. Anything you know could help solve the case. Ian, thanks for watching. Stay safe and don't forget to subscribe.